Yeah, I think, guys are, and everybody, like, disappointed because we lost a little bit of momentum that we had during the first portion of the season and through some of the middle of the season. But within that, I think everybody is, and I know everybody's positive. Everybody's working hard. We're just trying to continue to to tighten up what we're doing as a team, getting everybody back, trying to get guys recovered, healthy, get everybody connected. And now that we more or less have the full complement of our selection, it's also getting the right partnerships on the field, the right guys who can work together to do what we need them to do. I've often said that as an example on the attacking side, that we have a lot of guys who like to use the ball in between the lines, and we need to find the balance between using ball between the lines and having guys who are running into the depth. And those relationships have to still develop. And when you have guys away and then guys back, we are clunky in some of that. So we haven't created as many chances right now as we did earlier in the season. But we've had good chunks of possession, but they just don't turn into as many chances as they should. And that's part of that. On the defensive side, again, just, in the last game, we give up 2 goals and we're down 2-0 in the first half off of plays that are kind of transition moments, a long ball and a play that happens a bit in transition that we don't deal with the situation. Outside of that, they didn't have many great chances. I know they were protecting themselves. So we've had these stretches of defending where we've been decent and then we undo ourselves with a mistake. So we're how we tighten those things up down the stretch, who's on the field, how we partner up people on the defensive side, things like that are what we've been working through this week. It's been nice to have a week of training for the first time in a long time with everybody here. I think that's been valuable. We were able to have a really competitive 11v11 yesterday, which I haven't seen all season the way we did yesterday. So, these are things that when you have a new group, you love to have the weeks to train and get everybody together and work through things that you want to in a 11v11 setting. We're powering through those in games and right now, and we've made too many mistakes and we haven't been effective enough with the ball. So this league is about momentum, and we need to have a game where we can get the momentum shifted back in our favor, and then we'll be in a good way.
And this past week of training, has everybody been available to you, or is anybody that's not ready to go will not be available this Sunday?
Derek is the only one right now that's questionable. He had a growing issue and just how he reacts to today and how he looks as we go tomorrow will determine his involvement in this particular match. So everybody else is good and healthy and ready to go.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Damon. We'll go with Josh Gessman.
Hey, Greg, thanks for taking the time. You guys get the opportunity to play the last game of the weekend, so everybody else will have played in front of you, particularly the Portland and RSL games, both those teams right next to you. Is this the time of the season where that's a benefit to you to understand what you have to do on the weekend? Is this also the time of season where you start scoreboard watching a little bit more?
Yeah, I think just naturally it's that time of year where you start scoreboard watching and you're checking all the results and you see where things are going, and you're I think that's normal because the table is becoming more clear. You're starting to see it's actually, and more clear means it's getting closer together, I guess, in some ways, but it's starting you're starting to see who's in the race and who's not in the race in some ways, and who's close and how things are shifting up. And so I think everybody pays attention to that. Ultimately, I think the most important thing for us as a team is to be concentrated on ourselves, and we need to get our momentum and our performances back to the level where we can get results, because the only thing that's going to push us in the direction we want is points, us taking points. The results everywhere else are obviously play a factor in that, but we've got to get our momentum moving in the right direction. So I don't mind playing the last game, and you see how the weekend shapes up. It won't change anything for us in terms of how we approach trying to get ourselves in the direction that we want to be going. So
I think after our post game that we had, you talked about Galaxy scoring first, and so I went and looked up the stats. You guys are 10-2-2 when you guys score the first goal. You're 1-7-3 when you allow the first goal. Obviously, we know this in soccer that's usually a predictor. Scoring the first goal gives you a good chance of winning a game. But with the way the Galaxy have been starting these last 6 games, maybe even 7 games, a little bit on the slower side of things, does that give you pause and worry about trying to score that first goal?
I don't know if pause and worry. I think it's a real attention getter for us in terms of recognizing how vastly different our records are on either side of that. And like you said, that's not so uncommon to be, if you give up the first goal, to lose, but that's a pretty big gap for us and those two. And so again, I think it is. There's little details in there, I think, that we need to be attentive to in starting games, is making sure, again, the calculation of taking risk. Sometimes clearing balls instead of trying to play through balls, trying to put the opposition with our possessions in more positions to have to make plays on the defensive side, not going into such a controlled possession game when the game is still in the balance, so to speak, but to actually be playing to try to get that first goal a little bit more aggressively, if you will, when you have possession, not necessarily out of possession. So these are things that I think just our group, we also have to get our mindset right and shape our mindset as the games start and find the right rhythm and make the right plays off the bat. I think that's easy to say, but that's where we need to get to. We often talk going into the game about getting into halftime 0-0 or 1-0 up is the objective in the first half, and lately we found ourselves on the wrong side of that. So it's definitely something, as to the question, that we have to be aware of and attentive to, and we've talked about a few things that can maybe help us to shift that momentum a little bit. But it's an important thing. It doesn't change us, but we do have to pay attention to maybe a few things that have caught us off guard here.
Thanks, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with Larry Morgan next. Larry, go ahead.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking our questions, as always.
Larry.
Got a two-parter. One, you were talking a moment ago about the mistakes that your team continues to make. How surprised are you that this is still happening at this point in the season? And two, can you talk about how difficult a challenge the team faces this weekend?
Yeah, I'm surprised because I'm surprised in many aspects, because I think some of the mistakes that we're making, we found very, very different ways to make mistakes. We found a lot of different ways to concede chances and goals, and so sometimes you feel like we're going to run out of ways to create those moments, and we still find them. This is the goal. For example, the first goal we gave up last game, it was probably one of the few where we had one back down into the middle of us, and we then put ourselves into a difficult situation. To be fair to the group, both of those shots are from outside the box. They're from distance. It's not like they broke us down and got deep into our area. They are good shots from a ways away, but still, a guy like that, a player like that with that caliber, we can't have him on the ball between our lines with the ball on his left foot facing our goal. So, but yeah, I think we would think through some of these experiences that we would make less of these mistakes, and that we would be able to tighten up some of those things. But we found different ways. Having said that, we've tried as much as possible during the course of the season to find ways to have some consistency in our back line, to have consistency through our defensive midfield in some of these areas. I think through some of the shifts and changes, and not guys being in or guys being injured and then back in and all that kind of stuff, we've lacked some consistency on that side. And I think consistency is also important, and relationships are important, and preventing chances and preventing goals. So there are things to this that obviously I'm surprised. I don't know if I'm surprised as much as I'm disappointed and getting frustrated with it. I guess some of that could come with surprise, but it's something that for sure we have to tighten it up, and we have to clean it up, and we have to be better, period. As far as this weekend, the challenge that exists, Austin is they're a dangerous opponent in many ways. They really don't have anything to lose. They can throw whatever they want at us in any way they want to, and take whatever risk they want to try to get a result or to try to push the game. They're at home. They're in front of their fans in their new stadium, which I know they want to try to get some momentum and some belief in their own stadium. That's a place that's really difficult to play. So there's a lot of things where they don't have really anything that's holding them back, other than the fact that they haven't had great results, and maybe their confidence is, who knows. But at the end of the day, they have nothing to lose, and they can go for it. And we have a group that is trying to find the momentum that we need to go down the stretch to get ourselves in the playoff picture and to have the best chance down the stretch. So that would be the just from a mentality standpoint, the challenge that we have in front of us from them. Having said that, we have everything to play for, and we've got to obviously bring that mentality. They're an intriguing sort of attacking team. Sometimes they'll take risk where the risk has cost them, and they've made mistakes, and results have been a product of them taking risk in some dangerous areas on the field. Having said that, when they get it right, they're a really interesting attacking team. They have good movements. They're obviously very calculated. Josh is a clever coach, especially on the attacking side, and he's worked with Berhalter over the years, and they have good movements, and their movements are off one another, and so they can be a dangerous attacking team, and that's for sure. But they have made mistakes over the course of the season on the defensive side or in possessions that have cost them results for sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with Josué Lopez.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Hi, Greg. Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Speaking of those mistakes that you were mentioning earlier, where do you develop an improvement in that area? Is that on training or during the game? And I want to ask you as well about the chemistry between Dejan Jakovic and Chicharito. Do you see them playing together? How do the Streltsov players can play together as strikers?
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes on with the defenders and working with groups and getting, building relationships and continuity and putting defenders in different scenarios to be able to read them, make plays, stuff like that. Obviously, the more time you have on the training field and the more repetition you can get and work through all of that is obviously beneficial. You never want to be working through kinks in the games because the games are coming so fast, but that's kind of the nature of the way the season has been set up, and it is what it is. So we'd love to have the training time to do that. We have done some of that this week and working with our groups, and we'll see what the benefit of that was this weekend. In terms of Dejan and Javi, I think they have the capacity to do well together. I think at times right now they do the same things sometimes because they're both like these traditional goal-scoring number 9s, and they're both trying to get themselves positioned into goal-scoring areas, and sometimes when I see that, their movements are similar and not necessarily counter movements where one is doing one and the other is doing the other, and they're working off of each other. So that's relationship building. That takes a little bit of time. It takes work on the training field as well, like anything, because they both have the capacity to be complementary to one another, but at times without the relationship, I feel like they have the tendency or the habits to do some very similar types of things. So we have to keep working towards that and keep building, and those opportunities will come. And sometimes we'll use them, and sometimes we'll go with a slightly different, look, maybe a second forward versus two out and out sort of 9. So, but there is for sure a possibility that the two of them can coexist in the same team and be a very dangerous striking duo.
Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Greg, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Have a good day.
Hey, Seba, thanks for talking to us.
Hey, Josh.
I hear a little birdie tells me that perhaps if you play this weekend, which I imagine we're all expecting, that you're going to be making your 150th MLS appearance. I wanted to ask you what you have learned since you've made your Galaxy debut about this league and maybe yourself. And I'm sure it feels like a long time. It does feel like a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a long time. I know I lost a year, that 2017 year, but man, I mean, it means so much to me. It just shows like how far, just how far I've come from playing in England and then coming into the league, not really knowing to expect, not knowing, just needing an opportunity, and the fact that this club gave it to me. It just, what I've done with that opportunity so far. No, I'm humbled and I'm grateful. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, definitely the story is not over yet. So, but definitely it's a nice milestone for sure.
I know you're probably one of the few Galaxy players who's played at Q2 Stadium.
Yeah.
You played with the U.S. men's national team. You scored there as well. I wonder how comfortable you think you're going to feel there, not being part of the home team this time. And then also looking at Austin and looking at the Galaxy. Austin is, I think, second in the league in possession. The Galaxy are fourth in the league in possession. Two teams that like to possess the ball.
Right.
Is there a point, though, where possessing the ball doesn't do anybody any good?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a great place to play, a great pitch. What they've done with that organization so far has been really, credit to them. But I think for sure now moving on things we need to get better at. You know, in the beginning of the season, I think one of the things we wanted to be better at was our attacking football and the style of play and getting better at possessing the ball. And we weren't really doing that, but defensively we were pretty solid. We were winning games, so it was okay. You know, we knew we were going to build into the season, and I think now it's kind of like roles reversed. It's like we're better with the ball, we're possessing, but we're defensively, you know, leaking goals, and it's so we're trying to find that balance. And yeah, but we need to also sort of have that next gear as far as possessing. We need to penetrate much quicker. We need to everybody be in better spots, be a little bit more disciplined in that sense. So, and they're a good team. I know they aren't you know, where they want to be, of course, but I still highly rate them. I think their style of play is still effective, and we have to be careful.
Great. Thanks, Seba. Good luck.
Thanks, Josh.
We'll go with David Calhoun.
Hey, Sebastian, how you doing?
Hey, Dave.
Just looking back at your career, when you first arrived here, how much time did you need to get adjusted to the league, and also just playing with the Galaxy? Did it take a while for you to get adjusted to everything?
It did, yeah. No, I mean, looking back, it wasn't like a right away, you know, right off the plane sort of thing. It definitely took me, you know, months to really adapt just to everything that, you know, involves, with this league. And it's only gotten more difficult and more challenging as the years gone by. And thankfully, I've grown with the league. So it's, you know, obviously I'm a little bit more. But for people who come into the league, I think they're always very surprised on the level. So, you know, for all the newcomers, it's I'm never surprised when they kind of just have they kind of have a hard time just getting used to things here, you know, and because it is tough. It's a very athletic league, and you know, for some aren't used to that.
And there's one more here. You guys are, I think, in a 6-game winless streak here.
Yeah.
Coming off this week of training, what's the attitude like of the group coming off this 1 week? But you guys really haven't had a full week of training, really. I mean, probably in a couple months, really. But what's the attitude like going into this game here in Austin?
Yeah, no, it's been kind of nice, to be honest with you. I mean, individually and as a team to kind of have this week of you know, without that midweek game, it kind of does a lot for us to just kind of, you know, get our bearings again, get everybody together, and just kind of talk about the issues that we have, you know, that we've been having in games, and sort of go back to the drawing board a bit, and just have a full week of training, you know, which does a lot for all the teams, and it definitely does a lot for us. So I think we're just one game away that we gotta turn it around. You know, it can come down to one play. You know, like one play will change everything. This league is all about momentum, and I think if we get this one, you know, then the next will follow. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Go with Larry Morgan.
Hey, Sebastian, thanks for speaking with us.
Hey, Larry.
Got a two-part question. One is kind of a follow-up to what Damien was asking you.
Okay.
Can you remember, was there maybe like a practice or a moment in a game where you felt like you belonged in this league, that you could play in this league? And my second question is, you know, the Galaxy is winless in 6 games.
Right.
Are you worried about these? Are you worried about this team?
Well, the first question, man, is there a moment? I mean, I just remember I think I got my first start. That was, first start and first goal. And I think that was like kind of, for any player, I think that was, that's, you know, just such a pivotal moment. It's just, yeah, it's a monumental moment where you're just like, you kind of make your stamp and you prove to yourself more importantly than anything that you can be here. And I think for me, that was Columbus away, to be exact. Am I worried about this team? No, I'm not worried. Definitely not losing sleep. Are we being proactive on you know, and are we addressing issues, you know, proactively? That definitely, you know, we're not being passive, you know, with the things that haven't been going well. You know, it's not like we just let a 3-0 loss, whether it's home or away, this one being away, you know, we're not just gonna go to bed at night and have a laugh the next day. You know, we all regrouped. We've spoken about what we need to be better at. We need to hold each other accountable a little bit more, and that's just that's our stuff that we need to work on. You know, every team has their own stuff. But 9 games left. I believe we can definitely turn it around, one game at a time.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
We have one last one in English, and then we'll switch to Spanish. Chris Maldonado, go ahead. Hey, Chris. Okay, we'll go with Katia Castrana. Katia, go ahead.
Thanks, Vicky. Hola, Sebas, gusto saludarte.
Hola, Katia.
Quería preguntarte lo que mencionabas de cómo sirvió esta semana tener más días de trabajo para recuperarse también anímicamente en el grupo.
Sí, para mí individualmente y como equipo hizo mucho para recuperar, para trabajar en cosas que sabemos que tenemos que mejorar. Pero hace mucho tiempo que no tenemos ese tipo de tiempo en trabajar en cosas o simplemente recuperar para algunos. Entonces, ha estado muy bien esta semana.
Y la segunda quería preguntarte, que es el mes de la herencia hispana, para ti siendo parte, ¿no? Un embajador tanto en MLS como en la selección de Estados Unidos,
sí,
de lo que representa esa parte de tu cultura. Sí. ¿Qué es para ti y cómo ha sido, no sé, por ahí a lo mejor también ese reto de llevar esa bandera?
Sí, es una cosa muy linda, un orgullo tan grande, nacer en este país, pero teniendo sangre argentina, latina, es un orgullo muy grande y bueno, yo siempre lo llevo adentro y es algo que, I'm just, ¿cómo se dice? Very proud, very proud.
Muy orgulloso.
Muy orgulloso, ¿no? I was saying it, but I was like, I'm not sure if I'm saying the same thing. Bueno, pero gracias.
No, gracias.
Thank you so much for your time.
Cool, thank you.